Good morning. Good morning. Listen, I want to say this right here. This message is to encourage my parents. Those of you who are parents, right? And you have children, adult children, and you know that your relationship with those kids, there may have been a little turmoil there, right? Many of us have had trauma in our souls, and we didn't realize certain things until we got older, parents included. But I want to say this right here to encourage you and give you some type of, guidance about protecting those adult children. Even though they are grown, they may have their own children, they may have their own lives, but that's still your baby. That's always going to be your baby. And even though there may have been a bit of dysfunction there and turmoil in your relationship, protect your children, protect your baby. You know, children love their parents, and if you know that it hasn't been the best relationship between you all, and that child has grown up and they've been able to talk to you and put apply pressure and put boundaries around their life to which force you to make changes in your own sometimes, but that child loves you, they support you, you know they've got your back, and you're still connected. I want you to protect your baby and even take the time to love on your baby, because even though we get grown people get tired, like Neil Robinson said. Young folk get tired too. We go through things too. But I want you to take time to nurture the soul of your child, and I want you to protect your baby. And what I mean by protection, because it could be somebody, could be on the outside of that family dynamic or in the inside of that family. There could be somebody else who's monitoring that relationship, who may not have the best relationship with their children. And don't you know, sometimes people will speak curses over your kids because they are envious of the relationship that you have with them. And you may wonder why we can't get on one accord, or why this keeps happening. you know Thoughts are things, words are things. And so anytime somebody comes to you speaking negatively about your children, pay attention to the tone that they're speaking in. If something is wrong, if they're wrong about something, then you can hold them accountable. But if you know that over here behind the scenes, you and your children are working on your relationship, things are seeming to get better, a lot of the turmoil and things is not the same, and then you got somebody constantly speaking so negatively, pay attention to the tone and the words that people speak about you or about your children. And as a parent, you need to shut that individual down, because that's who the enemy is using to kind of go back and pull things back apart and sow seeds of discord. The opposite of love is hate. And you can tell when somebody is very hateful, because usually, sometimes what come out of a person's mouth, you can listen to the tone that they are speaking in. And sometimes they will project mean they will label somebody else as how they really are feeling. They will call out something about somebody else, but that's really what's in their heart. But time, patience, and studying, come here, and studying a person's spirit, their character, it will reveal what's truly in their own heart. And often you can look at the relationship that they have with their own children. Sometimes you can see their children they've destroyed their own children because they refuse to change their lives. And if you got a child that's getting closer and closer to God, and they've got the light of God in them, listen to those who come. Pay attention to those who come and try to say all manner of evil about that child. Noah's parents had to protect him. When you read the book of remembrance, Noah was different. His heart was after God. He looked different. He was albino, and his parents, his father, accepted him. He knew Noah. Come here. He knew Noah was his son, and he had to protect Noah. You understand what I'm saying? And so when you know your child is gifted and they're full of the light of Christ, darkness is going to come after that child. And I don't care, darkness can be in another family member. You need to, as a parent, you need to shut that family member down, because nobody should feel comfortable coming to you saying cruel, harsh things, cursing your own children. And you need to look at the relationship that they have with their own. Sometimes they don't love their children. They love the lust of their flesh. They love their own lifestyle. But do you know sometimes God will have your child in place? I remember my mother told me something. My grandma said, my grandma used to be a tough woman sometimes. But after some time, my mother told my grandma finally said, all this time my children was only trying to help me. They was only trying to protect me. Because sometimes when you're younger and you tell the older person, they be like, oh, remember who the, especially in the South, you remember who the child and who the adult is. That's what they'll say a lot of time. Don't be no manners now. But then over time, when that friction is not going away and your child is really on the right path, or say child, but they may adult child, their children are doing the right thing, at some point, there's going to be righteous distance placed there. And as a parent, you're going to begin to reflect and you're going to begin to internalize things. If you got righteous judgment in you, if you got a pure heart, you're going to be able to reflect and realize, you know what? God was using my child to help me see some things that I needed to correct in my life. And you're going to have to speak life in that child, and you're going to have to take accountability. And accountability is what mends broken relationships. Wait a minute, hold on a second. Accountability is what helps mend broken relationships. None of us are perfect, but there are some times where as a parent you could say, you know what, I have been stubborn in this area right here. The Bible says stubbornness is that of witchcraft, because when you're stubborn you can manipulatively find a way to keep arguing your point and making yourself look right. Sometimes you just need to stop. Sometimes you just need to stop and hug on your baby. Okay, tell me what it is. And you got to put a piece of tape on your mouth and listen and try to process. Let them get it out. Because at the end of the day, you're still the mother to that baby deep down inside of there. There's wounds, and accountability helps close up those wounds, and you can nurture your grown baby that may have their own babies, that may even be married. Sometimes they just need a hug. Try it. And listen and take accountability. There are some children who are grown adults now, and there are gaps within their soul, and their mother don't give a damn about them. Their parents don't give a damn about them. They don't care. They figure, oh, you grown now, I'm going to live my own life. I'm going to keep living my life. But when that child was small, they've neglected the children. They constantly chose lovers over their children. And you can see it from the outside looking in and try to tell them they just need you. They want you. You just need to listen. And they need your love. They need your accountability. Not saying that none of us can go back in the past and change it. I did everything I could. They'll tell you, I bought them this, They'll start bringing material things into it. Why? They don't want to look on the inside and self-reflect. If you know you ain't brought your child up in the best environment, as a home, you allow sin to just have its way in that home, take accountability. You can't go back and change the past, but that's nurturing to that child's soul, to hear that parent. Because what it says is, baby, I see those wounds, some of them I caused, and I want you to know, I'm sorry I was young. I thought I was doing everything the right way, but now we're older and I see how this has scarred you. You are loved. I'm sorry. I can't go back and change my past, but will you forgive me? There was a point where my mother and I sat down. I think I shared this before. A few years ago, she listened to some things that I shared about my experience and how I felt in the home as a child, seeing and witnessing certain things. And she listened. And after I finished speaking, she looked at me with tears in her eyes and she said, will you forgive me? I'm sorry. Will you forgive me? And that right there, it did something. It sealed up something in my soul, because I knew she heard my pain. That little girl that had held that pain on the inside, that child that was holding on that pain within this grown woman, that wound was sealed up. And I said, I forgive you. And she hugged me and held on to me. And then she said, now I'm not proud of everything I've done, but if I could turn back the hands of time, there are a lot of things I would do differently. And that meant a lot. You know why? Because it allowed me to feel and connect in a nurturing way. Because now you see me, you see your baby. You see the effects. You see the pain I've been carrying. And you realize your ways wasn't the right way. And you would change. But none of us can go back. We can only move forward. And so being able to listen even when it's hard. Some people get angry at other people and try to make an innocent person who can see the problem that they're dealing with, see, who can see the issue. I've always been a fixer, and I've noticed that in my personal life because I'm very good at fixing things. I ain't never grow up and say, oh, I'm gonna be a fixer. It's just something in me. I can sit back and watch and see a problem, and if people listen, then things go well. But if they just carry on, then they stay in all of this dysfunction and broken stuff. I've always been a fixer, and I never really realized that until the other day. That was in my spirit. I said, I'm a fixer. And I think I was working on something around here. I was doing something. And I was like, why can I fix things so well sometimes, But anyway, that's all it takes sometimes is listening and accountability. It ain't always easy to listen when we've done things wrong for all of us. But when our heart is in the right posture, we will listen and we can take accountability and we can change. Why? Because we want the best. We want to be united in love and unity, not constantly going around stirring up drama and feeding off of drama and labeling people and secretly whispering about innocent people's name. Because see, that stuff backfires on you. See, you got to be very careful about whispering about somebody who's a praying person, who's walking an upright life, who walks close with God. Because what happens is the things you say about them, you're going to notice them start to manifest in your own life, especially if they living upright and they're not guilty as you say they are. You see, when you try to cut somebody else's head off, when you try to slice somebody else's neck, and you doing it in secret, they may not see, but God does. See, and the things you say about other people's children, those things could backfire on your children. See, and the relationship you see that other people have with their children, you may want that, but you can't get there by not changing and trying to destroy other people's relationship with their children. If you're not going to help a situation, then you should shut your mouth, keep it closed, and mind your business. See, I never been a person that try to destroy, but I will tell you the truth, whether I'm your friend or not. I don't have a lot of people around. I don't have no close friends. I have elders, but I don't have nobody in the intimate part of my life. People aren't easy to be trusted, But if I had close friends, and when I do, as I continue to age, I believe I will develop healthy, close relationships. I will tell you the truth, and I want people like that in my corner to tell me the truth. And there's a way you do those things. I believe you admonish in private and you praise in public. See, the world, you can get on social media. The world is full of people who love to gloat, who get joy in tearing other people down publicly, or who try to build social media platforms by pointing out the errors in other people's and exploiting other people's pain. That leads to misery, baby. That opens the door to misery. I can tell you, people who operate like that don't live happy, fulfilled, joyful lives, because the heart of God is not the heart of God, and there's no rest for the wicked, and those type of characteristics are wicked. But someone who gets crucified for doing the right thing, they have peace, they have joy. You go through opposition, spiritual warfare. Why? Because you're the truth. Look at Jesus. He walked from place to place. Wasn't driving around in no Bentley, no Rolls Royce, didn't have the finer design, Neiman Marcus, Gucci, Louis Vuitton. He ain't had none of that. He walked, and everywhere he walked, people followed, people loved him, and people hated him. And you mean to tell me you representing that same Jesus kind of heart with righteous judgment in the earth? You're going to have the same thing happening to you. So you got to get used to that. But you will experience joy in the peace of the Lord. And God will bless you to have your own, So anyway, parents, be encouraged. Protect your children, your adult children, whether they're got their own families or not, and love on them. Watch how you see things change. Sometimes just listen. Sometimes your child can be ranting and all kind of stuff. Get them close to you and grab them. I don't care how big they are. They're still your baby. Put your arms around them and just hold them. Let them talk. If they talk, let them talk. Hold them. And watch how you begin to break through to certain levels. I'm telling you, you got a grown child that seems that they pushing you out and pulling you in. No. There's a wound. There's a little child on the inside of there that's still maybe fearful, maybe don't know how to protect themselves, dealing with whatever wounds they're carrying, trauma wounds. So don't be dismissive. And don't antagonize or belittle or make fun of them. Oh, you a grown man and you talked about this and you got a trauma wound. Oh, they gonna close down on you then. See? Because now you showing that you have no compassion, no empathy. They don't trust you. That little child inside of there that's got some things going on, they ain't gonna trust you to open up to you now. Because you rather deflect or make them feel bad because you really don't want to hear that pain they've been carrying. And that's not love. Well, I done this for you, and you want to bring up all these things to glorify yourself rather than listening. What type of life do you live? What type of life do you live? Is it hard for you to hear the truth about yourself? Because that could be the problem right there. Do you get real mad and pop off as soon as you hear the truth of something that you're guilty of and start blaming, shifting, turning it back on other people? That's a self-righteous spirit. Maybe you yourself need a deliverance. Maybe you need a deliverance. And then you can learn how to turn around and love and nurture the souls of your children and rebuild those relationships. That's just my little 2 cents, right? No pressure. Take it or leave it. Y'all have a blessed day now. People of God, go out here and enjoy your, what's the day? Wednesday? No, Thursday. The week going by so fast. I've been overbooked. So I got to hurry up and get ready and start my morning, right? But y'all have a blessed day. If nobody told you that they love you today, then you know your little country bumpkin sister loves you. We are the light of the world. Let's don't never let our lights grow dark. Let's keep shining bright. And we know that the blood of Jesus Yeshua, our friend, our brother, our Savior, that blood is the only blood that has power. Be blessed.